Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are live with another episode of Positive Filter. I am joined by a special guest. You may have seen him before if you are a loyal listener of the podcast. He's been on by, I don't know, I've lost count. I think it's probably like our 7th, 8th episode together. You're my most reoccurring guest. But I'm going to treat this episode like this is your first episode and let you introduce yourself once again to the listeners, viewers, anyone that's in there on social media. So for those that are new to Positive Filter, who are you and why are you on my podcast?
Who are you and why are you on my podcast? Well, I'm Hillard. I am Phil's best friend. When Phil started this stuff, he asked me if I wanted to start a podcast with him. I was just like, sure, just to support him. And you know, something that I couldn't sustain, but you know, something that he kept going, and I'm so proud of him for doing what he's doing. Well, we've known each other since 10th grade of high school, man. How many years? Geez, I don't even want to count. But we met in high school. We played football together. And we just like became cool in Holbrook's class. We had a class, like an all black boys class, males class, and that's where we really kind of connected and became cool, and we just been, you know, ever since just riding it out. I live in Boise, Idaho. Yes, Idaho, not Ohio, or Iowa. Idaho over by Washington State. I know, very random. Oh, I will say this. Last week they had a soul food food festival here, right? And now I've been here 8 years. Bro, that's probably like the most black people I've seen in one location, and it was actually like super dope. Like it went really good. It was hot though, but it was.
So was the soul food actually good?
I had some wings, and the wings was good. But there was I didn't have it this time, but I went to a different thing like for Juneteenth, and this guy had he's from Louisiana, and he has a restaurant here, and he does deep fried barbecue ribs, bro. Yes, 10, man. Them things is good, and I don't like a lot of sauce on my ribs, man. But man, this dude ribs is fire. Oh, so good. So yeah. So I think the population has changed, and then with people like just moving all around, and now they can like live anywhere because of COVID and work remotely. Demographics is definitely shifting here. So, but yeah. So, let me see.
Look, that was a long intro. You're my best friend. You live in Idaho.
School counselor. And you been 8 years, and yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Thank you. That was quite the intro. For those that were waiting to get to the end, he likes ribs. His name is Hillard McMorris. He's my best friend.
You know what?
He's supported Positive Filter. He's a school counselor. He's black and he lives in Idaho. I think that covers a good intro.
I hate repeating myself over and over and over. So it's like you have me on here every time you made me introduce myself, and I don't want to go through the same dialogue again. So I'm like really trying to switch it up because I hate doing that. Like,
all right, well, maybe one time you're gonna add something new, like you're in your Jamaican or whatever. So for those that have been listening, and so we're gonna have a little structure. A while ago, and me and Hillard are about goal setting, and we're going to get into that, and we're actually going to have a dialogue about that. And we definitely shout out to Dorothy. She's back. She's always supporting us. I appreciate you, Dorothy. We did an episode in May, and so if you followed this year, I think my birthday, January 29th, May 27th, we've kind of focused on goal setting and visualization. And so I feel like that's going to be a reoccurring theme for me and you when we get on the episode. It's almost like our mini series or a way that we keep each other accountable to our goals. And I don't know, I feel like that's a reoccurring theme for us on the podcast. I know I have different guests and different topics. But for me and you, I think that's one that resonates with both of us because one, you've always kept me accountable to my goals. And two, it's just, I was talking to Jeff the other day, my father-in-law, and I was like, it's very easy for me to talk about my goals with you is because I feel like you listen to me and even though I have a virtual audience, it's like I don't really see them. I'm just having a conversation with my friend talking about goals that hopefully will help someone else that's listening. So I think that's going to be the topic that we're going to keep on. If you saw this earlier, we called it goal setting part 2. I think we're just going to call it goals and goals. We just anything that has the title goals, we're going to talk about it. But for you, you said something very interesting before we got on, and I want to kind of touch upon that because I think it kind of aligns with what we're doing right now, and that is setting goals as you lead into the fall. I mean, I think, if we were looking at this, I guess this is Q3 of the year, it's almost over the hump. I saw a meme, it was like, we only got about 4 months into 2022. And like we're still trying to process 2020, that meme on your left. So speak upon that, Hillard, about what you said about getting back into a routine and why you may have fell off at this point of the year.
So basically, like what I was saying, I was like, man, I got out of my routine. Like this is like the first time in probably 4.5 years that I've gotten like out of like my routine, like fully out of it. Whereas like usually like I work and then summer break happens and then I probably take like a week off, maybe the weekend. And then like I start my job, like I have a summer job lined up. And so I just go right into the summer job. And so like, I'm still like on a clock or whatever. Right. So I know I'm going to still wake up every day and go to work. And then with that, like I work out. And I work out like 5 days during the week. Sometimes on, Saturday and Sundays, I'll probably throw it in there. But Monday through Friday, I'm pretty, like I'm going for it. And I get up at like 4 o'clock. So my alarm goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? I'm dressed. I'm at the gym by 4:30 when the gym opens up. Then I work out. And then like for my workout, I come back home and I shower because I don't live that far from home. I don't like my gym is not that far from my house. And then I make my breakfast and then I'm gone, like, to work. Like I head out the door. And that's typically my routine. This, like I did not work at all this summer.
Oh, okay.
This is like my first time, didn't work at all, right? And then like, just having that time and just having more time, like I started kind of relaxing. I was like, man, this is my first time in 4.5 years, not really working. I'm gonna just, I'm gonna relax a little bit, like enjoy my vacation, enjoy my downtime. And now I'm trying to get back into swinging things because like tomorrow I have a meeting with the team members from school. And then like, then we're gearing up for the school year. And so like now I'm like, all right, setting my alarm for 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I got up on Monday. I got up on Tuesday. And this morning, alarm went off at 4 o'clock. And I seriously turned the alarm off, went right back to bed. Like my body was like, nope, like I'm tired, get some more sleep. And like I didn't, And then obviously like I had other stuff that happened today. So my day didn't go exactly like how I had it planned. And so like working just to kind of get back in that routine, which nothing wrong with getting out of your routine. But I wouldn't like for me, I'm realizing now I can't get so far out of my routine because it's going to be a struggle. And I don't like the struggle to get back into my routine.
Yeah.
Some people, it might be just a lot easier for them to kind of jump back in it. For me, I'm realizing now it's not that much, Another thing I'll say, like I went camping. You remember that? And I was on a camping trip and I snacked a lot. Like I snacked a ton, right? And so between camping and then I came back to like back east like a couple weeks after that, right? So the bad eating continued because I'm like, all right, I'm on vacation. I'm chilling. I'm gonna just eat whatever. And then I came back to Idaho. Then I had a vasectomy. So then that's 2 weeks. Like you can't work out. You got to just sit down and allow your body to like heal, right? So then now that's just more time away from the gym. Man, I'm finding, man, I got 10 pounds to get back to like my weight of where I'm normally like just my everyday walking around weight. Not even trying to lose weight, not being on a diet. Like I put on 10 pounds from that. And trying to get back to that, man, it is hard right now. Like it's been a struggle because I'm just like out of my routine. I'm like, I'm not being as disciplined with eating my food and eating things that I know I'm supposed to eat. And I'm snacking still just a little bit too much, but I'm heading in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting back into my routine, but it's just like those type of things I'm starting to realize for me, I can't get so far off track out of my routine because it's going to affect me and it's going to be harder to kind of get back into that.
So basically, and so what you're saying, and I'm hearing and a lot of is that I think your routine was just some people's routine is like a snowball effect. And I think that's what I'm hearing. Like it was like one major variable threw off a lot of it. And the major variable was that you weren't working and that set the tone for this and this and this. And I was also like, while you were talking about that, I was thinking like of all the times I made like routines and the things that I said I was going to set for goals. And I'm trying to realize too, like what is that control variable that sets the tone for the rest of it? Whether that's setting your alarm clock and at 4 o'clock in the morning and sets the tone for the rest of the day, or a person, or just a habit of a physical location that sets that routine. Like like I'm going into this physical building, work mode, and so I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think like when we're doing a mad scientist, like maybe thinking about that too. Like what are the controlled variables? I'm really automatically assuming that yours is that 4 o'clock and then the rest of your day gets started. So maybe that's kind of like your trigger for your routine is the time of getting up and then setting your day from there. And also maybe work. I don't know. What do you think? When you hear like, do you think it's like that controlled variable, one variable really sets the tone for the rest of it? Or would you say it's like a multitude of things?
No, I mean, I think so. I think it's usually like one thing that typically like sets that, right? It's like, even if it's not, for me, it's that it's working out, that physical exertion, like right to start my day, to get my endorphins flowing and kind of moving and going, right? Like that kind of just sets me off in a great way to start my day. The other part, I would say for people, for somebody else, it could be just their mindset. It's like waking up, starting your day with meditation, starting your day with positive affirmation, starting your day, just not in a negative way. You will be more likely to be negative throughout the day if you wake up that morning and you're negative. Like you wake up in a negative mood, it's just gonna carry on like throughout the day. Now, if you're more positive, or if you can, you wake up and you realize like, hey, I'm kind of off. Let me go do some meditation. Let me do something before I kind of, get my day going. That would help you to kind of start your day off in a positive way. So I really do think that the first thing that you do, or the things that you do to start your day, plays a big role, in how your day and like how your day kind of like, matures and kind of plays out.
So sets the tone, like your way you wake up sets the tone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, and we're talking about goal setting, I kind of want your advice. And this is probably, so I'm going to be totally transparent. I got a presentation about visualization next week, right? Mm-hmm. And visualization and goal setting. And to be transparent, I'm not saying I was going to wing it, but I was going to do a whiteboard and do some interactive activities, but I haven't actually ironed it out yet. So with that being said, what would you, if I were to do a presentation on visualization in goal setting? Coming from me, Philip Wilkerson, what would you think? What would you like to hear from me? And the listeners too, if you're watching, this is actually, I just threw this out there too because I was thinking about it. The visualization. One of my things, it kind of rolls into this is routine. Like, that plays a part into your vision. Like, you visualize a goal and then you set routines into it. So, like, maybe your routine was to get in better shape. So you visualize yourself in better shape, but then you also have to embed a routine that aligns with your vision.
Right. Yeah.
I just made that up just now, but I think it does play into it. But what are some things you would think of? Like, what would you think, like you being my friend and knowing me, what would you think it would be some ways I can present this effectively?
So I think like examples. I'm big on examples, right? So when people like are giving, like, let's say they're giving a presentation or a motivational speech or things like that, if they could provide, like, for me, it always hits home when they can provide examples, right? Of saying like, all right, like sharing something that you were aiming to get, and it could be like, I would like to hear successful examples and then like unsuccessful ones too. Because I think a lot of times we focus so much more on the good. And it's like, man, you got it. When you're going through a process, you deal with so much bad, right? Before you get to the end goal of good. Like, man, I finally hit that goal. So you dealing with so much crap along the way, right? Because that's the process. That's a part of it. And I feel a lot of times, like, society, we just focus on the end goal. It's like, oh, we heard this story, where they started from. It's great. It's awesome. Right? And then boom, look where they at now. It's like, bro, like, do you know what they had to go through to get there? Like, it's nothing easy. And it's a lot of failures before you get to that goal. Right? So it's like giving examples of like all of that. I think like I would love to hear that, like, the good, the bad. And if you have different spots in your life, like, you have these certain highlight, like these certain times in your life that really stands out, like provide those as example. Like, that's probably like the first thing that I would say. I am a big proponent of winging it, because that's what I do a lot. But it's not just winging it though, but it's like, it's here, but I don't always like write it down, because sometimes I might write like a keyword or a phrase down. So maybe even do that, like write a keyword or phrase down. Like, that's, but I think it's, you connect and people feel that energy from you, man. Like, when you're just being genuine, like in that moment. So it's not necessarily just winging it, but you know what you're tapping into, and you know how to, like, and you're being genuine with them. And when they can connect to that, like, man, like, this dude is real. Like, I feel what he's saying, and I understand where he's coming from. Like, it's just it hits home differently. Yeah. Then you feel like someone's like reading a script.
Yeah, I was going to use a whiteboard instead of a PowerPoint, and use the whiteboard and start drawing, like words and stuff like that. And yeah. I'm trying to think of that, like, so in regards to visualization, right? I'm going to talk about vision boards. I have my vision board as an example. Mm-hmm. And then I was going to talk about like setting goals off of that vision board. But I definitely going to add the part of the resiliency, and like even talking about like how even in my vision of goal setting, I kind of went, I don't say I go way left, but like sometimes I don't even hit the exact target. So for instance, like I always wanted to do a TEDx or TED Talk. Yeah. And I practice for it, and I apply for it, and I still haven't gotten a TED Talk.
Right.
But that's still my vision. I still picture you being on the stage. But in that preparation and routine and visualization, I set goals that still relate. So I go to Toastmasters and practice public speaking. I do my podcast. I do those things. So I still have the vision of the TED Talk, but I haven't got there yet. So I like that part about failure and process, but then I'm going to bring it to more relatable actions that I do. Right. So I don't know, maybe I'm talking about, maybe it's vision, then routine, and then it's readjustment, meaning like after you fail, reach your goals. But I think, I don't know. I don't think that just because I didn't get accepted for a TED Talk this calendar year, my vision is blurry about it. It's still there. I just kind of thought about different ones, you know. And thank you. Shout out to my favorite Zeta here. She said that is perfect practice for your TED Talk. Yeah, well, you know, if it don't happen, I'm gonna have fake me out. What's it called? The great value version of TED Talk. I don't know what is that.
What's that? What would that be?
My podcast. So, but you know, so I definitely want to use that. So I think I like the words that you use: resilience, grit. I like examples. I got stories and process. I like that part. So I'm gonna put that in there for visualization. Can you speak to like, you know, when people hear about goal setting and vision, Fred talk, Fred talk, that's funny. Value City. What would be like in layman terms? Because I'm gonna speak about visualization. I think a lot of people think when they think of the word visualization and manifestation and the book The Secret, they think it's all that woo-woo stuff. But now I'm actually starting to buy into it. So how would you explain visualization to someone that, whatchamacallit, visualization is someone that doesn't believe in woo-woo stuff? Like, break it down to the most common man. How would you explain visualization and goal setting?
To why it's necessary, or like the
okay, first, why is it necessary if you believe in it? And then what would you explain it? Like, how would you explain it where it's not a woo-woo thing? You know what I'm saying? When I say woo-woo, not so meta and so just like to the common person, how would you explain visualization? Would you want to hear me say it and then just see what you think? So this is what I believe, right?
Yeah,
I believe. Okay, so all that law of attraction, all that. I mean, you can go there, but I just believe that, like, if you do not buy into anything, like you don't even buy into your own ideas, then you're not going to execute. So for me, visualization is just your self-awareness of at least you buying into your ideas or buying into your goals. So like you wouldn't even start a journey if you don't think you're going to do it. What would be the point? So you have to actually buy in. So like, for instance, if you want to lose weight and you visualize, you say that I want to lose weight, and you look at yourself and say, okay, this is what it would look like if I lost weight, all that. And then you don't actually picture it. You don't really fully buy into it. Then you're not really going to commit to the little small steps to do it. Cause you're like, you really don't wholeheartedly believe it's worth it, you know? Right. But if you like, I call it visualization is yourself buying in, like not other people. That's not visualization. Other people buying in is like a campaign, right? You got to like buy into your own goals. Yeah. You know, you have to actually believe you're going to do it, right? So I feel like buying in is that before you start the car before you start, you have to actually think you're going to go somewhere, or you wouldn't even make the steps to go. Yeah. And that's how I'm processing, right? Like if you don't even think it's if you don't even think it's remotely possible, then you won't do it. Like if you say, wow, it's really, to make it to the NBA is going to be extremely difficult, or it's going to be like only 1% do it. It's very hard, but it's not impossible. Then you'll try. If you already think it's impossible, then I'm like, then why would you even try? Because that means like you have a 0 chance. So you, at least in visualization, you got to give yourself, when you visualize it, that you got better than a 0% chance of actually succeeding. Mm-hmm. So that's I don't know. I was just thinking out loud, is that self-buying. Like you close your eyes and you actually buy in to what you're going to do before you even start. That's the visualization part. And then the real process, as you put, is the execution, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to, yeah, I mean, you can picture whatever you want in your head and not do nothing. It's not going to happen. So so you got to buy in, and then you got to buy into the actions. And then I feel like that resiliency is that it's you continuously buying in when like your life or your process doesn't go well, that you have to continuously check yourself and say, no, I'm buying in. I still got it. It's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. It's still going to happen. Like you got to keep on even telling
100%.
yourself and re-buy in, even in the face of failure, which I ain't gonna lie, like even with the fake me out TEDx, man, I was like, man, no one wants to hear me speak. I've been trying multiple, I think I've tried like 3 applications so far.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna have to re-buy in, and I'm doing it. Like sometimes me talking out loud to myself, that's me re-buying in. Like, okay, I'm still gonna try again.
Right. So yeah, and you have to, like, you're right. I mean, you got to believe, right? All right. It's just, and your example of, you just gave an example of like the car, right? Go back to your car example of like, if you got 2 cars in your driveway, right? And one of them does not work. You're not going to go to that car. You got somewhere to go. You're going to go to the car. This car works. You believe like, hey, when I get into this car and I turn this key or I push on the brake and I press the button to start it, this car is going to start. You believe it. Like, hey, it's going to start. It's going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
When I get into that other car, because something's wrong with it, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do. So you're not even going to waste your time on that. And so it's the same thing. Like you have to believe in your stuff. You got to believe in yourself before you're like, oh man, before people are going to believe in you. You have to be your biggest fan. You have to know like, hey man, like what I have to offer, what I'm bringing to the table is something unique and something special that nobody else can do. Which is true for all of us. Yeah. That's the crazy part. Like it's true for all of us because can't nobody else do what we do. We're unique in that way. Our outlook is so different and so unique, and our personality is it's one of a kind. Is that nobody's going to do it like that? So yes, the belief that has to be number one, and that's where the vision comes in. It's like it starts right there in believing. Yeah, so, all right, this is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I like, that I enjoy. I'm gonna pursue this. And then once you go there and you have that and you're like, all right, and it's a passion, it's a true passion, like you'll be consistent with it. You might not devote the same number of hours every day to that passion because you probably can't, because you might have different variables. You got kids, you got a job, you got family, you got just other different stuff that that's just pulling you, that you got to take care of. So you got to handle that, but it's like you'll come back to it. You're not going to leave it. It's something that you will pursue consistently. I was just watching, the Hot Wings, the dude that does the Hot Wings challenge. Yeah. Like with the movie stars and stuff. Mm. All right. So he just had the guy on there that's, oh my gosh, he's the police officer in Stranger Things. And he also played, he was also on Black Widow. Yeah. All right. So that guy, he was on there. And at the end of the whole interview or whatever, I was watching this last night. He said to be an actor, he's like, man, you gotta be consistent. He's like, you don't even have to be the best. You just need to be consistent. You just gotta not give up, man. So just keep going, keep doing it. So now if you find something that you're passionate about, right, you're going to have bumps. You're going to have crap is going to happen. That's part of the process. You got to just keep doing it. Keep going for it. right?
What? Okay, so I'm thinking this story though, and like I'm definitely all about it. But what about that hater? That negative Nancy. Like, okay, I want to be an athlete. I get a career-ending injury. That was my visualization. What do I do? Does that mean visualization doesn't work because you had laser focus? What would you say to that person?
That wanted to be a professional athlete and didn't quite make it.
Yeah,
because of
a career-ending injury. So let's say they had the visualization. So let's say this. So let's do this scenario. You have the visualization, then you do the micro steps and you set the goals, like work out consistently, all that. And then even with that visualization, you get a leg in, you can't play the sport no more. What would you say to someone about that? About visualization and goal setting? To talking about accounting for the impossible. Because I think this is what I would say to him.
Yeah. So all right. So that happens. And that's for me, that's part of life happening, right? Like you can't account for that, and that's gonna happen, and that has happened to a lot of people, to where it's just like boom, it's just it is what it is. Like that does not mean that's the only thing you can be passionate about. That doesn't mean that's your only goal. We don't have just one goal. It's not just one and done, right? Like whatever you can still be around sports. You can still be passionate about sports. You just now pursuing it from a different angle. And now you tapped into something. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to be a player. Man, you make it to the NFL and you're a running back. Bro, your lifeline is 4 years. The average NFL career is 3 years. So after 3 years, man, what is that? Like, what are you going to do? Like, now you've achieved your goal. Now you're done. You're going to sit on, you're going to go sit, you know what I'm saying? You get to sit, on the side like Thanos and go watch the sunset. Nah, you don't, like, that's only 3 years. That's nothing. You know what I mean? Like you achieved a goal. That can't be your only goal. Like you said, you gotta what else are you passionate about? What else do you enjoy? What else, in what other ways do you want to leave a mark? Or help people, or whatever it is, So
yeah, because that's what I was about to say too. It was like I was thinking about that too. It was like maybe you have a vision and you're going this way and your journey projects you somewhere, but you're still moving forward. And that our destination can change, but we're still going forward. So, what I'm thinking in my mind is this ship analogy. Thinking about you're going in a journey, you don't know where you're going in a boat. And you're going toward an island, you end up in a totally different island, but no matter what, you were still sailing somewhere different than where you started.
Right.
So I think I was I'm processing out loud, with you and for the podcast, because I'm thinking in that regards to that vision and goal setting is that it needs to be revisited, one, and then that your vision has multiple facets. Maybe, remember, I say my vision is to do the TED Talk, but then that's not my only one. Maybe my other one is to do write a book, and my other one is to do public speaking in another realm. So maybe my visions all intertwine, and if one door closes, maybe I never do the TED Talk, I still got the skills to write a book. You're right. I still can pivot because my vision was multi-dimensional. It was multifaceted. It wasn't singular, and so maybe diversify your vision or diversify your goals.
Right. Or the book can lead you back to the TED Talk. You know what I'm saying? It can open up the door, which you probably just looking at it the wrong way. Yeah. And it was just a part of the process to where it's man, get the book and get that squared away. And then that now becomes something. And then that propels you into to this part of it, to the next phase and stuff like that. So it's just also
I was thinking, I love your coaching analogy, is that they always joke and say the best coaches were not the best players, right? Like,
Right.
but you never know, like second phases of your life, right? Like you think, oh snap, okay, I'll buy that too. Diversify, got to diversify your vision. The mustache like that. You know what I'm saying? I look like that dude from that movie. What's the jump? Sorry, I go on tangents, but
we don't address that mustache. Don't worry.
No, so I think you're right, and it's also like almost like intermission or different phases. Like I have a vision. Young people have a vision when they're young, but they think their life is over at 20, and then they start a career at 40 and live to 80. You still have 40 years of doing something completely different. So your vision can completely change. Like the second half of your life, you never thought you could have been a coach. And, you have your second life where you're mentoring and coaching people from, age 40 to 60 years old. And no one really remembers your days as a player. Like that's so early in your life. We always remember, I think a lot of coaches played like Herm Edwards or something like that, right? Herm Edwards played, but no one really, I don't know. Most people don't immediately think of Herm Edwards as the player.
Right.
They think of him as a coach. So maybe his vision has changed when it's either age or time or life circumstances. So I think I'm gonna add that into the presentation. Is for this thing, you had to diversify your vision, meaning like visualize things, have different aspects of your vision board or whatever, different aspects of different communities, different things that you want to do, different hobbies and interests, and then write them all out, have the vision of it, but my vision is not so singular. I definitely don't want to over spread myself and have too much interest because then I can't devote any concrete time to anything, right? Like almost that careful balance, right? Like have diversity, but also don't be so spread out that you burnt out and spread thin. So like diversify, but keep it limited to like a realistic number.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah. But and here's the thing too, Phil. Like as you said that, like the evolving part of it, right? Like, we're constantly changing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're evolving, like, like people, like as people, we evolve. Like we don't our skin, like there's a layer of our skin that is shed every day. If we go through it, like we're constantly changing, and growing. Your vision and your goals aren't going to stay the same. They're going to change and evolve with you. Like that's just what it is. Like, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to remember that, like as an individual and as a person, like we said last time we did this.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not the same person. You're not the same person you was at 18. Being 36 now and to be the same person at 18, bro, like that would be sad. I feel like I would not want to be the same person. That'd be exhausting. I can't handle that. That's too much. So your vision is going to change because your mindset is going to change. And that's because we're constantly evolving. We're constantly moving forward, so that's a part of it too, so that all makes sense. And that's where the structure comes in that you talk about, like, that's why you got to have structure with it. The vision boards are great. And having like, something around it. So you're not spread thin and you're not focusing on so many things. Because multitasking doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't.
So I was going to say that because then, like my system, and I'm really evolving it. But I started the year with a vision board. Then I made goals, and now I'm doing a thing where I had quarter check-ins. And I'm actually proud of myself because the vision board, the setting goals, some of them I were able to highlight, like I already completed, and some of them are not completed, but I still got like 4 more months. So I think I'm going to try that same system: vision board, write out the goals, quarter check-in, and then see how it does it in my second year doing this same exercise, and for myself. And then I've had unexpected victories while still pursuing the TED Talk or pursuing this or saying this. I didn't get this, but then I got, made new friends in this area, or did more professional development, joined more conferences and stuff like that. So I definitely attest to like, wow, now my vision changed with new experiences. I feel like I can do different things. And so even when I do my vision board next year, it might have different images because I got exposed to new things within this year. So sometimes it compounds on it, compounds on itself. For goal setting, though, how do we know realistically when to let something go? Like that the vision is not really it. I'm thinking like you really played football or something like that. I like these sports analogies. And then you're playing it, you're really good at it, but you just like, you feel empty or something. You don't want to do it. So then maybe that wasn't your vision, and you don't like even purposely don't want to make it to the NFL no more.
Yeah. I think when you start,
let it go.
I think like I would say, and this is probably just a guess and I could be completely wrong, but I think like when you start to feel like the passion start to like truly dim around that, like you don't have that fire no more, or that passion to like really do it,
Yeah, but okay, is that dim passion like you have to like have an overall, like I don't want to do it consistently, because like there's days you don't want to do it.
Like consistent. Like, man, so I would tell you, I wrote this, and I told you like getting back into my routine, right? Trying to get back into my routine, and right now I should be kicking myself, because like last time I said I was journaling, right? And the journaling that I was doing, I want to take that and I want to turn it into a book, right? And whether it sells or whatever, like, that's just up to whatever, But like I've had a lot of time, a lot more time on my hands than I've had in the past, 4 years, 4.5 years. And where I could have really gained and capitalized, right, on this journaling, like I didn't, right? But the passion isn't gone, right? Like when I sit down to do it, and I do it, let's say if I sit down and do it and 5 minutes, I start doing it, dude, I'm doing it for like at least an hour and a half. And like, I don't even realize the time has gone by. It feels like I just sat down and I'm starting to do it. And like, I get into it and I'm like, just writing away and going at it. Right. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you might not hit it every day, and you might not devote the same amount of time to it every single day. But then once you get back to it and you're doing it, it's like that passion, like there's a love for it. So you really enjoy it. And you like, and that's different than some of the physical goals that we might have, right? Mm-hmm. Some of those physical goals, it's just like, that's just time and your body. It might just be like, man, look, you ain't going, and you're just not going to have it. LeBron don't have it going into, about to be 36 now, about to be 37. Like he doesn't have it like how he used to when he was 22, 23, but like that's part of the physical part of it, but that doesn't have the mental part of it though. Like you can carry that much longer. And that passion, and like all those people that retire from sports, they know when it's time, and they pretty much consistently say the same thing, like it gets to a point where they just hate practice. I'm like, yo, I don't want to go to practice. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of the film sessions. Like, they all talk about it. Ray Lewis, Peyton Manning, like, you can go, all of them, all the greats. When you start losing that part of it, then you're like, all right, man, it's probably time for me to step away from it. That passion starts to dim a little bit. So
I just asked the listeners if they have any questions to send them in while we do like one more question. Okay, here we go. We do get a question. So we have one from Whitney. Says, what about failure? You made your vision, you diversified and all that, and you hit a wall at every turn and you're consistently failing, that's hard. So what would we say to that person? You want to go first? I think I have some thoughts about the failure part after you made the vision.
Oh, go ahead. You go.
I was about to say, like, being like a mad scientist, right? Is that okay? You did the vision board, you set goals, and you're consistently failing, right? But like, are you consistently failing, or is there external circumstances, environmental factors that are making you fail? And so I would say that with the person that is consistently failing, think about that same goal like you're a mad scientist and examine the variables, because maybe some of the variables are things that you can easily shift and some of them can't. So like, let's say for instance, you set this goal to lose a lot of weight. I'm just thinking weight, and you're consistently, I guess, backtracking, but then you realize that it's because everyone and their mama in your house has got the bad food and it's just always around you, and you're buying it or something. Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking like you have to analyze the environmental factors, the actual people that are supporting you. Sometimes people are contributing to your failure, as in bringing you down or putting you in a negative environment where it's not lenient to success. And then I think maybe sometimes it's just life is really out of your control. And then you have to just re-examine. But I was thinking about that the other day, like to go to Whitney's question about failing, I'm thinking about the TED Talk, right? I'm 0 for 3, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe here's some things I'm thought about, right? And that it is a consistent failure. I'm 0 for 3, but I need to analyze what have I done 3 times in a row. Well, one, I'm not going to be totally transparent with the listeners. I waited to the last minute to do my application, right? I set a timer. I was doing it. Maybe my application wasn't strong enough. Maybe my topic is redundant and I need to think of a new topic before I even submit. So I would even think, even with my failures, I'm thinking about that realistically. And I'm saying, did I do everything to make this execute? Or did I have some variables within my control that I still did? Like, maybe the variable outside of my control is that they just never want to hear me talk. I can't help that part, but I could say I need to work on my application a little bit better, or proofread it a little bit better, or do a little bit more preparation. Like, now that I know what's going to happen next August, start thinking about a real topic in June and be more be more effective. So I would say that to Whitney, and that really excellent question is, I would just say be a mad scientist and really, really thoroughly analyze the variables that contribute to that failure, and really, really analyze if it's within your control or not. I think most times, not overwhelming majority, because as you say, things happen beyond your control, life happens. But there's sometimes in those variables is that I say to myself, I didn't do everything possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I agree with that. And that's the reassessment. Sometimes you have to take that step back and kind of like, man, like, and look at all right, I tried this and I tried this and I tried this and I hit, like what's going on? What did I do? What can I do different? Like, how can I change? Like, what did I do that time that I can probably shift and change and make this and approach it from a different angle where now this time it's probably going to be successful, So you probably got to try, like, and that's part of the process, right? Like, failing is part of it, but then like you got to reassess. And like you said, you got to reassess the outside influences, the things that are going on, there's probably the things that you can't control. That's the things you can't control, but there are things that you can control. And it's like, okay, what can I change and what can I control to like help me to be successful, to have a successful outcome? And sometimes you got to try like a few different things, and you only need, man. I was gosh, I can't remember who it was. It's Rick Ross. He's like, man, you only need to win once. That's it. He's like, yo, you can fail 1,000 times. You only need to win once.
Yeah.
Like, and man, that's so true. That's it.
Yeah. I was also about to say, and then also re-examine what you think is a failure. Like, I don't know. I think you say consistently failing over and over again, but then like, I'm not being toxic positive. I'm not saying like, oh, just get over it. But then I think about it sometimes in the long run, those failures are still little victories. Like maybe because I didn't get into this, I went there and I met new people. Like maybe, like I thought about that. Like maybe if I didn't go to this college and I didn't get into this college, that's a failure. But then I went to this one, I would have never met my best friends. Like, is it really a failure? Maybe it's just, in the moment inconvenience, in the moment, upsetness. But overall, it's not complete. It's not 100% failure. It's like a 95% failure. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not even that, because it still turned out to be really good. So I don't know. And we get one more question. We're good. We're hitting the hour mark, which is our normal mark for episodes. I really enjoyed this. I think we went on a random tangent. I don't even really talked about goals as much. We talked about visualization. I could rename this episode, but I'm not going to. I don't know. Do we have any more questions? Let me see. No, we just got Sylvia. Shout out to Sylvia. She going ham in the comments all this time. She's just dropping gems. She's not even giving us. She's just giving us things to think about. I've been looking and reading all of them. So I love it. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And you learn something, man. Like you learn something from everything. Like, like that stuff don't happen from mistake, because you probably had to, you got to learn something, I mean, and it's funny, you take your car to a mechanic, man. Sometimes mechanic don't even know what the hell going on, man. Like, but you got to like they got to kind of mess around with stuff first, and like kind of, they look at it, they assess it, they turn on the car, they try to like, and sometimes they may not even know how to fix the problem in your car. Like that's the crazy part. That's the scary part, is that like sometimes some mechanics do not know how to fix that problem. But what they do is they figure it out, or they talk to another mechanic, or some of them actually watch YouTube videos, and the videos guide them, so they learn from somebody else. And now once they've learned how to do that and fix that problem, now they can add that to their skill set, right? And now it's like, oh, this is something new now that I know how to do. It's a learning process. Like the whole thing is a learning process.
Yeah.
So
let's let's land this plane, as they say. Hillard, actually, I took a lot of notes. You really actually helped me for my presentation next week. I'll let you know how that goes on visualization, goal setting, that I absolutely did not prepare for.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and question my cash app.
So I'm going to, I'm in that jump, full mustache ready.
Please, like, can we address that?
If you want to.
We had the end.
We're at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's there to address? This is
why. The why. I want to know the why.
Because I felt like shaving my cheeks and not my mustache. Because I want to look like Isaac from The Love Boat. I always wanted a mustache.
I'm not even gonna lie, man. I'm actually surprised you can grow that.
I am too. I visualized it. And so, hey, anything is possible. Once again, no, anything is possible. So
I told him before we got on here, man, that he looked like every black player in Remember the Titans, and that's what he looked like. He looked like Rev.
Thank you so much. So, with that being said, this is the part of the show called Shout Outs and Plugs. I do actually have a random shout out and a plug. So, my frat brother, Michael Frimpong, he's working on a show, actual show, animated show on YouTube, and he asked me to promote it. And I'm going to play the, not after this, but at the end of this episode, I'm going to put a little bit of a blurb about it. But I'm also going to put it in the chat. It's called Tiny Froze. It's a show, web series about a Black woman created by a Black woman. Michael Frimpong is not the Black woman. He's on her team. The woman that created is Erica Rose. Shout out to her. She's another Duke dog from JMU. And I love to support them. So I'm going to put that in the comments. So that's my shout out. My shout out and my plug. My other shout out is to everyone that joined us tonight. Sylvia, Dorothy, Whitney. Who else joined us? Sean, my frat brother. Shout out to you. And I think those are the people that joined us and commented. So thank you so much for Maggie. I saw Maggie joined us. Who else? That's it. Yeah, my wife Maggie. She joined us. Shout out to her. I love her. She likes my mustache. And so, shout out to all them. Shout out to Tiny Froze. And those are my shout outs. Hillard, how about you? Do you have any shout outs and plugs for tonight?
Shout out to you, man. Oh, look at Doc.
And then Armand. I didn't know he was joining on YouTube. He was probably on a burner phone. So shout out to Armand as well.
Thank you, man. I'll say shout out to you for just always, having me on and making this possible. It's just it's another way for us to not for us to connect as well, but then just share our connection with other people and just like this is stuff that we would do on the phone, just call each other and chop it up and talk like this, you know what I mean? Probably have more curse words and all that stuff in there as we're talking, but that's what it is. But so shout out to you, man. So I really appreciate you. And I'm gonna just leave it right there because if I start with other people, I'm gonna forget people, and so it's all good. The cadet.
Thank you very much. So if you want, you can follow Positive Filter. This episode will also be the audio. I'll release the audios for those that were not able to make it, or rather listen on the go. So I'll be dropping the audio of this tomorrow. And my mustache will still be growing tomorrow. So you can follow Positive Filter on all platforms. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn and all those different things. I really enjoy doing this. Hillard is always great. We might do this again.
For sure.
We are going to do this again. Of course, we'll have a different topic. Please send in any topics that you would like for me and Hillard to discuss on a live. We love doing this. This is fun. And yes, Sylvia, thank you. I'm surprised you stayed up this whole time. I really didn't expect that. And so Positive Filter on all platforms. Check it out. Check out Tiny Froze, which will be in the comments as well, so that you can check out some other creative endeavors. If you have anything you'd like me to plug, send it my way. I'll be happy to shout you out and show your creative endeavors love. I think that's what this Positive Filter podcast is all about. It's not just about me, but it's also about my listeners and my friends doing creative things that I love to highlight. So if you have anything, send it my way. I'd love to give you a shout out. And okay.
Oh, mustache first. Beard.
I can't have a beard, so that's why I got this mustache. All right. Whitney, stop trying to find me. I don't have anything else to say. I need to learn how to complete this episode. Everyone is making me say more comments that just reiterate how awesome my mustache is. So everyone have a good and safe night. Please continue to be safe out there while the Delta variant is out there. And have a great night. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say, Hillard, before we close out?
Nah, man, that's it. I think you got it, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Peace.
Peace.